You're watching ABC10 Plus This Week.
Hello, I'm Laura Painter. You're watching ABC10 Plus This Week. University of the Pacific researchers believe they developed breakthroughs in the opioid crisis. Then, in dollars and cents, how cash stuffing can help get your budget back on track. Then, North Sacramento leads the city in illegal dumping, and residents are fed up. Our To The Point team looks into the issue and possible solutions. ABC10 Plus This Week starts right now.
Well, neighbors in North Sacramento say they are sick and tired of being used as a dumping ground. Literally, they see piles of trash and unwanted items left in their neighborhood by people who refuse to dispose of it properly. Now, after countless pleas for help to the city, these neighbors tell ABC10's Jeannie Nguyen they're fed up and calling for change. Tonight, Jeannie shares with us their concerns and how the city is responding.
Ramona Landeros has called North Sacramento home since the 1970s. She and her family have worked hard to establish roots in the Del Paso Heights neighborhood. But seeing her home be a dumping ground is a difficult reality to face.
They're dumping everything from refrigerators to furniture, anything that they don't want to pay for at the dump. We basically get it in our neighborhoods.
Public records show 2 zip codes saw a majority of illegal dumping calls to 311 for nearly 2 years.
There's little trash piles everywhere.
The city received more than 3,100 inquiries in 95838 and more than 2,600 to the 95815 zip code.
These are one of many down the street.
These areas are typically considered low income and have a large non-English speaking community.
Just because we live in Del Paso Heights doesn't mean we don't care. It doesn't mean that we're going to accept this.
The city received 237 calls of illegal dumping along Rio Linda Boulevard in the span of 2 years, 161 reports on Harris Avenue, and 135 reports on Roanoke Avenue.
You know, I can be driving down Del Paso Boulevard here and everything's fine, and then later in the afternoon there's already a pile of garbage there. People do it in broad daylight.
Our team caught people dumping illegally in broad daylight on Rio Linda Boulevard.
Everybody has a little garden across the street. We all take our time out to come and cultivate our flowers and our plants.
The Altos Avenue neighborhood garden is a point of pride for Nancy Azevedo, but it wasn't always the case.
In the past year, this dumping just became outrageous. And it's just so disgusting.
She and her neighbors have called 311 many times and brought their issues to city council meetings. Records show there were more than 100 calls to 311 about illegal dumping on Altos Avenue. Azevedo believes the city prioritizes certain neighborhoods over others.
Well, our taxes aren't as high as, say, Land Park, so we don't get as much services. Well, that just doesn't seem right to us, so we've organized.
Azevedo formed her own cleanup crew who also maintains this neighborhood garden. While the city reimburses for some cleanup efforts and acknowledged Azevedo with the certificate for taking initiative, she and other residents feel the city does not follow through on 311 calls and are calling for more accountability.
It doesn't seem like the city cares because we don't feel that they're doing enough for our community. They've got to start doing something, whatever it takes. You know, they kind of depend on people to call it in, and people don't want to get involved because they're afraid of retaliation.
Even though residents here in North Sacramento are fed up with all of the illegal dumping, city officials do say there are deterrents in place to try to curb the problem.
We have cameras which are located around the city, and we'll kind of identify a hotspot and then put a camera there.
The city's Public Works Department says it relies on people reporting dumping issues to 311, and crews aim to address the problem within 3 days.
People who do call those in can get up to $1,000. So $500 to $1,000 could be awarded to someone who gives us information leading to a citation or some kind of administrative penalty being given to an illegal dumper.
But the city acknowledges there is a problem primarily in North Sacramento, the District 2 area, adding that the people doing the dumping usually live within the neighborhood.
Kind of focusing our efforts there, focusing cameras there, focusing advertising so that people know to call into 311 and feel empowered to call about their own neighborhood.
A longtime resident of District 2 himself, Councilmember Roger Dickinson says he understands the ongoing issues his neighborhood has experienced over the years.
I've suggested the idea of even having the city assign a refuse truck that would just tour through neighborhoods that are victimized by illegal dumping and just be there to pick it up when it happens.
He says he'll be working to make some long-term and effective changes and promises residents will see changes soon.
It's about time, and now we see something for the better happening.
And with a large Hispanic community in the area, Dickinson says he'll work on making resources available for Spanish speakers. All of this in hopes of taking back the neighborhood they love.
We want them to be proud of the neighborhood they live in and feel like, hey, I like living in my neighborhood.
We have some great community here, great neighbors, great neighborhoods, a lot of families that really do care about their homes.
In North Sacramento, Jeannie Nguyen, ABC 10.
The city currently has 5 code officers for city waste issues and is in the process of hiring one other. Again, the city urges residents to report illegal dumping to 311. Links on how to do that can be found on our website. That's abc10.com.
Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight, the San Joaquin County Sheriff's Office has a message for farm workers who fear deportation. Luis Magana, a farm worker advocate, says the sheriff met with them at a field recently, helping to make them feel more comfortable going to work. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has the details.
Do not let somebody victimize you and scare you and say that we will call immigration.
With the help of translators, San Joaquin County Sheriff Patrick Withrow is speaking directly to farm workers after hearing concerns of immigration and customs enforcement visiting their workplace. Luis Magana, an advocate for farm workers, says he requested the meeting after hearing workers had seen ICE agents present at a field in Cortland in Sacramento County. But after some digging, Magana says the sighting was actually officials with local law enforcement. Magana says the sheriff was there by the river where the workers were pruning vines, and the sheriff's office had 2 white vans, and everyone started running to hide. Magana says there is so much panic right now, and immigrants can't tell the difference between agencies and the logos on their vehicles. This leads to confusion, but Sheriff Patrick Withrow says he wants residents to know they are there to protect them.
And I was worried that bad guys were going to try and take advantage of the situation and either pretend like they're ICE or victimize our citizens in just, a normal fashion, whether robbing or stealing from them or whatever, and then telling them, hey, if you call the police, they're going to deport you.
But the sheriff says that is not true, and they don't work with ICE agents. Magana says the farm workers now feel safer going to work. Magana says they were happy to hear the sheriff is not a threat. They are not immigration. They are cooperating with us, and that immigration doesn't have the authorization to enter a field because it is also private property. Sheriff Withrow says he's already planning similar dialogues with other groups and organizations, but let it be clear, they are still here to fight crime.
If you're victimizing people and drunk driving and all those things, you do need to worry about us because we're going to be out there fighting crime.
In Stockton, Roxanne Elias, ABC 10.
Magana says he's now working to request a similar meeting with Stockton police, since many of the farm workers live there. Stockton police say they do not enforce immigration laws, and they are willing to have those talks with the community and stakeholders to reassure them of their policies and stance. Meanwhile, President Trump and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum agreed to put planned tariffs on hold for a month. Canada also announcing today tariffs for them are postponed for at least 30 days. This after Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promised more cooperation on the border. Sheinbaum said Mexico agreed to reinforce the Mexico-U.S. border with 10,000 National Guard troops immediately. She also said the U.S. agreed to work to prevent high-powered weapons from being trafficked into Mexico. The tariffs against China are still expected to go into effect tomorrow. Now, all of this has caused a lot of uncertainty for consumers and businesses alike, and that includes small businesses in Sacramento.
ABC 10's Luke Clary is live in the studio. And Luke, you actually spoke to a local business that didn't even realize how much of their inventory was manufactured overseas.
Yeah, that's right, Chris. It's one of the hallmarks of our global economy right now. More and more parts and components are manufactured in other countries and cross borders. This auto repair shop in Midtown Sacramento is a locally owned small business, but their parts come from all over the world.
I never really needed to look where it came from before. Right there, made in China. Yeah,
A closer inspection of the inventory at John Ellis & Son reveals that future orders could be impacted by the Trump administration's tariffs on goods from China.
So I guess this would basically be the U.S.
Matthew Fogg is the manager.
Although everything came from a different country, until now, I didn't really ever think to look exactly where my parts were coming from. Like, who made the parts.
And he's not alone.
In a modern global economy, how common is it for a business to not really consider where certain parts are manufactured?
An interesting question. I too was at the auto parts store.
Christopher Meisner is a professor of economics at UC Davis.
A lot of people are unaware of how connected we truly are right now.
Yep. Mexico.
Meisner said that with tariff policy changing by the day, uncertainty will be with us for the foreseeable future.
Uncertainty is a huge economic cost in its own right, and we're likely to pay just as much for the uncertainty as for the outright tariffs. So I think that's worth watching that.
And yeah, they're made in China.
At shops like John Ellis & Son, whether it's the uncertainty or the tariffs causing the cost of parts to rise, that expense will likely be passed on to the customer in one form or another.
It's going to affect us. So I would say to keep that in mind when the policies are being implemented, that it does affect real people.
And Meisner says that he doesn't believe that the Trump administration will stop here. He believes more tariffs are likely on the horizon, so consumers and small business owners should buckle up.
Well, in 10 on Your Side, a viewer spent months fighting to get her money back from AT&T for a service she never used. 10 on Your Side got results in a matter of hours.
I just want to thank you over and over again. You got my money back. It's over $500, and I couldn't do it. I would have had to get an attorney.
Melody Kasich tells 10 on Your Side stopping by an AT&T kiosk inside her neighborhood store led to an unforgettable and costly experience.
They said they could save me money. And so I normally don't even talk to people like that, but this time I did.
She admits the deal from AT&T was intriguing.
Supposedly, I was signed up for auto pay, and I was going to get a cell phone and my internet bundled. Because I'm old school, I asked them for the paperwork. And they go, oh no, don't worry about it, it's all on your phone.
So Melody left the store with no confirmation number or official documentation.
Within 2 days, I got not only one phone, but 2 phones. And so because I was overwhelmed, I actually sent them back. Didn't open the packages, sent them back.
She started getting monthly bills for more than $100, even as they acknowledged zero usage on the statements. She says she called AT&T, but they would always ask for a passcode.
I said, I don't have one. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And they said, well, we can't talk to you. We can't verify who you are.
So then she went to an AT&T store to speak directly to a manager.
And he couldn't do it. And I thought, because I'd heard and watched you and seen you 10 on Our Side, and I thought, might as well.
10 on Your Side contacted AT&T immediately. Melody had spent months trying to get her money back, and we got results within 24 hours.
It was less than that. You called me at 8 o'clock. The next morning at 10, it was done. And I can't thank you enough. I mean it.
AT&T released this statement saying, in part, our goal is to resolve customer concerns quickly. And unfortunately, in this instance, we fell short of our standards. For that, we apologized to the customer and resolved her concerns. Do you have a problem and don't know where else to turn? ABC10 is here to help. Email me at onyourside@abc10.com.
Time now for Dollars and Cents. Tonight, we're wrapping up our series on New Year, New Money Goals with a viral budgeting hack called cash stuffing. It's getting a lot of eyes on social media, and it might be the thing you need to curb your spending and get your budget on track. Here's how to get started. No apps or high-tech tools required.
This week's cash stuffings, I have 50, 70, 90, 110, 130.
You've probably heard of the trend cash stuffing, but it's what I've been teaching for years, called the envelope system.
No matter what you call it,
A lot of people online are talking about cash stuffing, the budget-making hack going viral.
What it is you take your budget and the categories you tend to overspend on and cash those out.
It's budgeting in its most basic form, literally stuffing cash in envelopes for specific needs. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about what cash stuffing is, and how they can get started and why they should do it?
Cash stuffing is going to be a little bit more of an old school way of, budgeting.
It's so simple to start. Get yourself a budget binder and a few envelopes and get to work. Figure out what you overspend on, like clothing or shopping, and make an envelope for that category. And then put a certain amount of cash in each envelope. And this is where willpower comes in. Don't spend more than what you've allocated for each wallet.
Once it runs out, then that's essentially all the cash that you had to use for that specific category.
It's a way to physically see where your cash is going and also curb online spending.
It makes it almost like a little bit of a game or more exciting when it comes to budgeting, because we all know we need a little bit of an extra incentive to actually stick to our goals.
So, if you're someone who responds more to the hands-on approach, this might be for you. Experts say it's also great for teaching kids about money. Cash stuffing is all about being intentional with your spending. But it's not for everyone, and there are risks. Experts say having a lot of cash on you isn't the most secure way to store your hard-earned money. There's a danger someone could walk away with it.
And speaking of safety concerns, are there any other downsides?
Yeah, keep in mind, cash stuffing does take time, and that really is the point, Chris, to make sure you slow down, think about your spending instead of just clicking pay on a website. But if the effort is too discouraging and unmotivating, then another budgeting method might be more successful for you.
Tonight, it could be a breakthrough in the opioid crisis. Researchers in Stockton have developed a new overdose reversal drug delivery system they believe can save lives. And it comes as thousands of Californians are dying or being hospitalized each year from opioid overdoses, with most cases involving the use of fentanyl. ABC 10's Becca Habegger reports from the lab at University of the Pacific.
And we'll keep it like this.
Here in Professor Mamoun Al-Hamadsheh's lab at University of the Pacific's Thomas J. Long School of Pharmacy, researchers have discovered what they believe could be pivotal in the nation's opioid crisis.
We believe this is a scientific breakthrough in the field of drug delivery.
You've probably heard of Narcan, the life-saving nasal spray that can be administered to someone unconscious from an opioid overdose and almost instantly reverse the overdose. The active ingredient in Narcan is called naloxone.
We are repurposing, we are empowering naloxone.
Professor Al-Hamadsheh and his team have developed a new way of delivering naloxone to the body, an injection that deposits several days' worth of naloxone just under the skin, which sprinkles itself throughout the body over the course of a week.
At least a week. I mean, that's the exciting thing we've seen. I mean, if you look at the typical Narcan, which is basically the one that you find over the counter in some pharmacies, they stay in the body for maximum a couple of hours.
Fentanyl and other potent opioids can stay in the body for several hours, he says, outlasting the overdose reversal power of one Narcan dose. He says this long-acting naloxone delivery system, called HD5, can be used to reverse an overdose or prevent someone from overdosing.
This is crucial for mass casualty situation.
For example, he says a U.S. soldier entering hostile territory could take the drug to protect against an opioid-based chemical weapon for an entire week with just one injection. The team's discovery, which has only been tested on animals so far, though with promising results, was published last month in the prestigious journal Nature Communications.
I'm very proud of the impact that this could have.
Hala Alderwood is a postdoctoral research fellow here in Professor Al-Hamadsheh's lab and first author of the study. She says the drug delivery system, if eventually FDA approved for humans, as they hope, could help save the lives of teens who accidentally overdose on fentanyl.
They take pills that they didn't know it's fentanyl, but sadly it's laced with fentanyl. So they die and they didn't know they are taking fentanyl.
Public health officials say illicit drug dealers are adding fentanyl into pills and products that don't normally contain opioids to make them more addictive. As for the future, the team hopes this long-acting drug delivery system could be used for other drugs as well, including insulin for diabetes patients, cancer drugs, and more. In Stockton, Becca Habegger, ABC 10.
And the professor tells us the work has been funded with a $2 million grant from the National Institutes of Health. We asked if the team is worried that the money could dry up, given the Trump administration's attempts to freeze and cut federal funding. The professor tells us that because their work is targeting the opioid crisis, something President Trump has cited as a major concern, he is confident their funding will continue and hopefully grow.
Well, it's the powerhouse that first lit up California and the capital city. I'm John Bartell, making a little pit stop at the Folsom Powerhouse State Historic Park.
It's alive! Oh, it's alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Is this how Frankenstein brought his monster to life here? Is that what these are?
You're on the right track.
Although it looks like the laboratory of a mad scientist, no monsters were brought to life at the historic Folsom Powerhouse, but it did give life to a new era of electricity in California.
One of the first commercial distribution power plants here in North America. One of the first places to send the same kind of electricity that we use today for a modern electrical system.
Today, the Folsom Powerhouse stands as a historic state park, but back in 1895, it was a cutting-edge marvel that amazed Americans, according to state park interpreter Zach Adams.
One of the first things they did was they lit up the Capitol. They put these big arc lamps all over the state Capitol, and they did a grand electric carnival to celebrate this newfangled technology and show off. People came from all over the country.
The Folsom Powerhouse was built 22 miles away from Sacramento, which was a pretty big flex for California because never before had electricity been delivered that far. And Zach says Sacramento wasn't sharing a bit of it.
We're generating here in Folsom, but we're not using it locally. We were sending it down to Sacramento for things like the rail yards, the ice houses, and the breweries down there. So big commercial industrial concern.
To feed the big industrial needs of Sacramento, the Folsom Powerhouse used the force of the American River to turn the giant hydroelectric generators. At the time, it was making more electricity than anyone had ever seen.
Each of these pipes takes in about 250 cubic feet per second of water. So that could fill an Olympic swimming pool across this entire hall. We could fill one in 88 seconds.
At the time, technology for converting water power to electricity was still in its early stages. The powerhouse is filled with odd contraptions, like this funky rope system connecting the turbine to the generator.
We have 2,200 feet of continuous hemp rope that's linked together that spins a drum down below, a drum up above.
Building the powerhouse took a lot of ingenuity and some backdoor deals. The family behind the monstrous powerhouse was the Livermore family, who were sawmill and lumber moguls that donated land along the American River to the state so they could build Folsom Prison. In return, the Livermores asked for prison labor.
They said, build your prison, then turn that labor around and build our canal, because it was a really expensive project to get that canal built.
As California's electric grid grew, Folsom Powerhouse became obsolete, and it was closed in 1952. Today, State Parks preserves the components inside as a reminder of the state's early electrical beginnings.
From Folsom Powerhouse State Historic Park, I'm John Bartell. Hope to see you on the back roads.
Thank you so much for watching ABC 10 Plus this week. We're here 24/7 on the free ABC 10 Plus app. You can get your local news and weather anytime, anywhere. I'm Laura Painter. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Trust isn't given, but earned. It's built every day by doing the hard work, putting in the hours, doing the research, holding the powerful accountable, and being there when you need us most. Working hard to earn your trust every day, every newscast, every story. Watch weeknights at 6 or stream live on ABC10 Plus.
Thanks for watching ABC 10 Plus. And now that you're here, why don't we take a look around and see what else is here? The very first tile on your left is always going to be streaming 24/7. You can find us adjacent to that, breaking news if it's there. And then right next to that, a replay of the most recent newscast. Whether it's ABC 10 Morning News at 5, 6, or beyond, it's going to be there. The forecast beyond that, and then right beyond that, the news that matters the most. Now that you know the basic tiles, let's go up to the top and take a deeper dive into news. We have every single newscast that you would need, including To the Point with Alex Bell, taking a deeper dive into the issues. Beyond that, ABC 10 Morning News at 5 and 6 and 11, the evening shows as well. Below that, you can watch the top stories from To the Point. Under that, Dollars and Cents, where you can learn how to navigate this challenging economy. And below that, you can watch our award-winning ABC 10 Special Investigations, where we hold the powerful accountable. Going into weather, look, it's the 10-day forecast, getting you ready for the weekend and beyond. Beyond that, sports. I know you care about the Sacramento Kings. We have the most comprehensive guide to anything, everything Kings in the locker room and on the court. We have it. Below that, I know you care about the San Francisco 49ers. We can't mention Bay Sports without talking about the Oakland A's. We have that too. Backing out again, come up to the top and join me on Verify. I'm super excited about this. Our experts are checking the facts, verifying the truth for you. Jump up now to shows. Very excited about this. Oh, look. It's Take a Look. This is my show. I love movies, and if you love movies or streaming shows, whether it's on screens this big, or this big, it's Take a Look. Recently went behind the scenes, sat down with Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix to talk about Joker 2. I love the movie, and oh, I just heard you shout you hate the movie. Jump in, we talk about it on this show. Other shows, Bartell's Backroads, go up and down the state of California, tank of gas getaways, one fuel cell getaway, like places like the Toy Museum. This is what kids did before they had screens. Over here, the Moaning Caverns of Calaveras County, one of the most coveted caves in all of California. You know, watching this show, I discovered there's a cave that could fit the entire Statue of Liberty in your own backyard. You'll find about that and more with Bartell's Backroads. Down below that, To the Point. It is one of my favorite newscasts because they talk about news with Alex Bell the way you talk about news. It's conversational, but in-depth at the same time. Below that, Your California Life. Love this show. Whether it's entertainment, food, beverage, lifestyle, it's there. Desiree Shepherd hosts and does an amazing job. So there you have it. It's ABC 10 Plus, the app. What do you need? We heard you and we got it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming.
This winter, let's hit the back roads as I explore California's best winter spots.
That's a lake trout.
From ice fishing to one of the biggest snow parks and even a romantic holiday gondola.
Buon Natale, Merry Christmas.
And all the winter fun in between.
What would you say is like the true meaning of Christmas?
Bartell's Backroads, California Hidden Winter Gems, streaming now on ABC 10 Plus.
Hope to see you on the Backroads.